All right, this is the third time recording this, but we're gonna get it right this time. I'm basically this is the 12th day of or it's actually the 13th day of the 75 days thing, and obviously I've missed a bunch of days recording. So, but basically today I'm going to do kind of a current mortem, post mortem thing on the entire 12 days so far, the tasks I was able to get done and what tasks I wasn't able to get done and why I wasn't able to get those things done. And then we're gonna we're gonna record the things that we're doing in order to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And then I'll show you the updated database that I'm gonna be using to track everything inside of Notion. Yeah. So, but I don't know if I mentioned I'm tracking everything in Notion now. I was using an app, but I like the idea of Notion a little bit better because you just on a day-to-day basis you get to see the full picture of all the stuff that you're working on, and you just get to see the picture of success, and you just check all the boxes across, and there's the opportunity to record specifically what you did. And after this I'm going to go work out. So here we go. Okay. Uh, wild wild start, but this is the start, and I'll explain that quote thing at the top, at the very end. Basically, though, to start, we had the day one, day two, which started pretty good, and I recorded videos for both of those days. I forgot to put content column here, but yeah, we had day one, day two, which turned out pretty good, and then day three. Day three was when I started. I recorded like a faltering in the Chinese, and that was because I used an app instead of doing a full speaking session. In the end, and I think there are more failures in this chart if I actually don't count the apps. And but I'm being specific to not count apps because my goal is to speak. And Duolingo, while I do love Duolingo and I like that it's helping me recognize tones and differentiate between different sounds, but while that's the case, it's also not great for like speaking. And I actually met a girl this weekend that spoke Chinese, and I wasn't able to, I skipped like 3 days, so I wasn't even able to speak to her, right? I forgot literally everything in a couple days, and that's annoying, right? That's not where you want to, it's not where I want to be. So, I need to speak twice a day. And then if I get the apps done, that's great. But I need to speak twice a day, and that's going to be using Pimsleur. Eventually, we'll get to actual tutor or something, but right now it's just Pimsleur, because yeah, it's just Pimsleur. So, but other than that, we were good. Day four, day five, day six, like the first week was almost perfect. I didn't mention this habit at the beginning, but I'll mention it now. Not watching porn. I'll say that's the one of the things I didn't mention. I think I kind of mentioned it in one of the videos, but that's one of the things that I wanted to stop doing. Just in general, I I feel like I feel like over the last few months, I've been choosing the cheap versions of a lot of the activities that I've been doing. Like, instead of going out and talking to girls, for example, you watch porn. Instead of working on the clothing, sewing something specifically, I'm imagining something, or even just on YouTube, like lollygagging, and instead of making money, instead of doing the things that for the businesses that I need to make money, I'm out here researching nonsense, or I'm not even doing anything. I'm taking the cheap, and even for the workouts, even for these things, like instead of doing like full thing and going hard, maybe I'm just walking the whole time instead of, so taking the cheap route, and I need to stop taking the cheap route. And so anyway, so that's the reason that porn's in there in general. And I like I do like the vibe and feeling that I have when I'm not watching and when I'm not partaking in the activities that go along with that. So that's why it's on there. Um, I'll tell you, one of the things that I do recommend if anybody else participates and does something like this, like does a challenge, I do recommend tracking it, like either physically, like on a piece of paper, like or just using some sort of digital program to track it, like with checks and X's. And then any day that you actually mess up, just make a note of why you messed up, and that's what we have down here. So on 618, porn, I saw a video on X that was like, it was wild, and then that led me down a rabbit hole, and la la la. You know how it goes. And so, and then the next day, basically, I just since I since I messed up the streak, I was just like, wow, well, might as well just fuck this day off too for this specific habit, or negative habit. And so for X in general, my response is I need to put content restrictions on, and that's a little bit annoying, right? But the other part about it is like the reason I'm on, like, why am I even on that app or website? If there's any legitimate reason for me to be on there, it would be to engage with one of the communities that I am a part of, whether that's video editing, whether that's YouTubers, whether that's clothing, or even just the general like AI community, or even I'm part of this program called Build Space. Like it would be to engage in a specific community to learn something, to watch other people build in public, to give other people feedback, to get feedback. It's not too, and then of course there's fun, but it's like I don't necessarily want to be using that app for shenanigans as much. So I need to put content restrictions on whatever whatever that means, and I'll have to go research. Like I'll just have to go into the app and see what's available. And then and then for the next day, it's like I also need to have the idea in my head, like just because I missed one day doesn't mean I need to like, miss all the days or even the next day. Like just we need to reset and keep going. It's not like the whole thing is maybe you're not perfect, but it's like continue. Don't just quit. It's kind of like a giving up the second day. I don't really like that. Um, and then you see like a lot of days, like starting on 6/19, like I missed like 4 5 days in a row with water. Let me just double check the audio is still running. Okay, should be still going. Okay, yeah, I missed like 4 or 5 days with water, and the reason for that is because of my schedule. There's twofold. Because my schedule in general is, I had reminders set on a bi-hourly thing based on my waking hours schedule that I had planned out. But my I'm not I was not operating according to my waking hours schedule, and thus those uh, those reminders fell on deaf ears. Like I didn't, either I was asleep during those times, or so my resolution is to again reset reminders, but set them for every waking hour. So like literally every hour on the hour, like drink water, drink a cup of water, or drink the 16 ounces. And, and of course, there's certain times where I can drink more or less, but just like a reminder every hour to at least to drink something, right? And okay, and then for the workout in Chinese, like for the past 3 days, I've missed on every single day, and you know, obviously that's not good. So on 6/21, I was I worked on one of my other works for a while, slept, and then went into the sewing factory, and I was there for a long time, and basically spent the day. We worked on numbers. Me and the lady that's the owner of the factory, worked on some numbers, costing, and then I spent like 2 or 3 hours actually like just looking at different fabrics that I could use instead of either cotton spandex or instead of the wool that I had in mind. And my workout time, I don't know, I didn't wake up and do anything, and I didn't do anything throughout the day. And then when it came the evening time, when like my goal was to kind of sleep at like probably 6 or something, and when it came to the evening time, it was like, uh, yeah, it didn't end up. Yeah, it was like I got home, like I left the factory around like 5:36, and like yeah, I got home and there was no time to do anything else, so I didn't. And there was a kind of, I remember there was a feeling in the morning of I remember it was on my mind to do, like I was thinking about it, like I literally thought about it throughout the day, like I need to do something, but I didn't. I think I did a little bit of apps, but it doesn't count. I've kept my Duolingo streak, but that's meaningless. So and then they yesterday went out with some friends. I slept till pretty late, about 4 or 5 p.m., and then I went out with friends, and then I was out until pretty late, like 2, 3 a.m. And then when I got back, kept like chatting and partying until like 4 or 5 a.m. And then went to sleep, and I was asleep for like 10 hours. Um, and this is Sunday now. Like yesterday, I was asleep for like 10 hours, and then I was in bed for probably like another 2 hours watching YouTube. And then I went out to eat, and I researched, you know, I researched making a two-piece sleeve a little bit uh, more, because I realized the two-piece sleeve the pattern that I created was not going to be sufficient. And yeah, so I didn't end up doing any of the stuff, which brings me to where we are, which triggered me starting to read this book. I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can, is it backwards? Oh yeah, you can see it. Greatest Salesman in the World, um, by OG Mandino. And I started reading it because it was a recommendation from a guy that I respect very much on the internet, Mike Chang, if you look up his YouTube. And the reason why I started reading it was because he mentioned that it has some principles or some things that you can basically you can use it to kind of rewire your brain or rewire your habits or your thoughts. And I think in addition, this is something that I had in mind from the beginning a little bit, was doing that specifically, like purposefully. One of the reasons why back in the just a little quick little story, back in the day when I was trying to get good at social skills, talking to girls and everything, I would watch content. I would watch these videos, and I would basically, like, on a daily basis, not the same exact videos, but I would watch these videos on a daily basis before I'd go out, before I'd do anything. And I have these principles in my mind that I would like, and these mantras and these things that I would repeat every single time that I would go out, and every single time that I would talk to a girl, talk to a new guy, talk to a, when I was on a trip, going out and trying to be social. Like, I had these things that I would say to myself. And when I was scared to go and talk to people, I had these things that I would say to myself, every single time. If I walked up to somebody, and whatever they said, if they didn't want to interact with me, whatever, I would say, oh no, they missed out on me. I'm the cool guy. They missed out. They should have, it's not on me. I did the right thing. I did what I could do, and they missed out. It's like reframing everything in a positive manner. And basically, because of that kind of reindoctrination, I was able to kind of remove those negative beliefs that I had around socializing, and then I was able to create the craziness that, if you've seen my TikTok, if you've seen me do any live streams, or even if you go on my Instagram now, like, that's all of hope it's that's all a factor, or a that's all because of that time period that I spent like almost a year or even longer, like just watching these videos and these content creators over and over and over, and like getting those ideas like firmly in my brain. Um, and I think I needed, and I've wanted to do that again for another subject, another thing, but I just haven't had the idea, or even the content that I would use. And and then I heard about this book, and I was like, sounds like a good thing to do and use, because it's not necessarily that sales. I think for all the businesses that I'm a part of, like, sales is important. But when I started reading it, I was like, this is definitely something that you could use holistically in life. So in this video, we're dropping frames a little bit, but it's okay. We'll survive. Um, so that's where the title of this came from. And one of the things that it says, just to give a little background on this book, the one of the things that it says is, like, it's basically a story about this guy that he became like one of the greatest salespeople in the world. And he became this way because he was given a chest of 10 scrolls that he was supposed to read, that contained all the knowledge, all the things that he would need, all the knowledge, the wisdom, to become the greatest salesperson in the world, to become the most wealthy, happy person. And the agreement that you make that the guy is supposed to make when he's going through these scrolls is like to do exactly what they say, and so I read the first scroll, as it were, and then the second one. Right, first scroll, the whole idea is kind of the ideas behind it is like, number one, you gotta you it's how to use the other scrolls. The first scroll is basically how to use the other scrolls, and what it says here is basically read every scroll for minimum of 30 days in a row, so that you live, so that you internalize and live each precept, each piece of what it says, and you're going to read each of them 3 times per day. Once when you wake up, once when you wake up silently, once in the middle of the day silently, and then once at the end of the day out loud. And and one of the thing, and then where I basically pulled that quote from, not the exact quote, but what I pulled that quote from uh, was this part where he was talking about habits, and he's like, the number one thing, like, you can learn a lot of things through experience, but experience is a harsh teacher, and the payment for learning through experience is your time, is your life, and so the whole idea here is to not pay with your time, but to pay to learn with the habits instead of being instead of something else. I want to see the part where it talks about habits. It says, okay, in truth, the only difference between those who have failed and those who have succeeded lies in the difference of their habits. Good habits are the key to success. Bad habits are the locked door to failure. Thus, the first law I will obey, which precedeth all others, is I will form good habits and become their slave. And that's where that kind of quote came from. And I realize when I look back at this list here, like, especially when it comes to the last 5 days, like, the reason why it started falling apart was because, and even for the other days, the reason why it was difficult is because, like, I have no real legitimate schedule. I'm just shooting from the hip. I don't really have prioritized tasks. I don't sleep at a certain time every day, and I definitely don't, like, get, we just flying by the seat of our pants on a daily basis. And yeah, we need to not do that. I need to be, yeah, it's like, if I want success, it's like, obviously we need to break that habit of just, like, doing whatever whenever, and really focus in and do things when they need to be done in general. And even, like, there's the also the idea, it's like, if I don't get done with something, then I have to stop. If the time for that thing has ended, I have to stop, and then I'll pick it up the next day whenever I get to it again. We have to, like, firmly stop things when the time for them has ended. We can't just keep going just because. So that's where this book came in. So basically, that's kind of the basis with which I used to create the schedule for the next 14 days. Um, I'm kind of doing like a every 14 days, we'll kind of iterate and make a decision about how we're going to move forward. So here's the new table. Basically, it's a database instead of kind of a normal table. And here's what we're doing. So in the morning, we have a workout along with Chinese. So every single workout, regardless of the workout, we have a 30-minute cardio piece where I do the Pimsleur Chinese, full stop. If I do some other type of workout other than the running, that's fine. But then I have to go do either running or walking because we have to get that Chinese in. Second thing is, like, yeah, as soon as I get back, shower, I either do the reading as soon as I wake up, or we do it after I shower and everything. Probably as soon as I wake up. That's probably the best thing. So I'm just going to move that to the front. Then at the middle of the day, it says with your meal at the middle of the day, you do the second reading. And then, of course, I want to get do I want to do something with the clothing company that I'm making. So that's pattern making, admin stuff, which is like costing, or I might add more things here for what I did that day specifically, but just a category. We'll see. I'll decide as I go. Obviously, drink the water, and then the second workout at the end of the day. You know, again, same thing. Can do whatever workout I want, but if it's not a cardio workout, we need to do some 30 minutes cardio so we can get the Chinese in. And then in order to finish the day, we do the third reading out loud, and of course no porn, and then of course at the very end of the day, at the very end of the day, I think I right before probably before I do the third reading, probably when I get back from the workout, I'll make the piece of content that I want to make for that day, which will probably be just this kind of quick meeting where I just go through what I did today, how it felt, everything like that. Would love to get more into like kind of a vlog format, but we're not gonna bite off too much more than we can chew. We're just gonna go bit by bit as it goes. So this is how we're gonna. This is what we're gonna do from here. Generally, we have 14 days of this, and then yeah, we have a couple action items, which is I have to put content restrictions on X, and then I have to add reminders for every waking hour for the water. Yeah. There was another app that I was kind of using for my scheduling. It's called, it's basically this app that's for time blocking. It's called Scheduled. Uh, yeah, pretty simple name, Scheduled. And it's pretty cool time blocking app that just, as the day progresses, just the task that you're doing, it moves through that task. And so, and it connects with all your calendars. So all you pretty much have to do is connect your calendar, and you're probably good to go. And one of the interesting things about it as well is that it includes these energy indicators. Now, I haven't been able to get as much value as I could out of that specific software because, again, habit-wise, it's super difficult to actually behave according to a time block. Fully at the end of the time block, stop, move to the next thing. It's you know it's difficult. It's difficult, but so I'm not gonna necessarily jump into scheduled, for example, but I just at least we're not gonna jump into schedule just yet. We're just gonna go according to this right here, and the goal as far as my schedule will be going to bed around 5-6 p.m. and then waking up around 12 or 1 a.m. Hopefully, if we can get like 6-7 hours of sleep, that'll be fine. Yeah. Other than that, that's basically what. Yeah, that's what we're doing for the next. That's what we're doing for the next 14 days. And this piece of content does not count for the day. I'm not even gonna count it because at the end of today, I'm gonna make another video. We did everything that, like the first day is done. We did it good. Like this piece of content does not count against the content for this day, June 24th. So we're gonna upload 2 videos today. So yeah, back at it, baby. I don't know. That's it. Cheers.